Okay, so welcome to the Food History Seminar. Today we've got Repa Kustupa from the Center for Study of Indonesian Food Anthropology and Padjadjaran University. I've messed the university's name up, I apologize for that. So today she will be talking about Sudanese cuisine and cooking utensils after the Indonesian Revolution. So I'm going to hand straight over to Repa for the talk, and then we'd have some questions afterwards. So over to you.
Okay, I will share my screens. Just wait a second.
And if anyone wants to sort of comment during the talk, please do use the chat function on Zoom and we can have a sort of conversation on there while the talk is going on.
Okay, so can I start it?
Yes, it's showing, so please go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, good night from Tasikmalaya, West Java, Indonesia. Thank you so much for Institute of Historical Research Food History Seminar. There is Matthew Pelva. Thank you so much for convener, and Ms. Akali. Thank you so much for joining, and my friend also. My name is Repa Kustupa, Research Director for Center for Study Indonesian Food Anthropology and also Padjadjaran University. And then I will present about Sundanese cuisines and cooking utensil after the Indonesian revolutions. So this is my ethnographic study and gastronomy fieldworks. You can check on my social media. And then these presentations can read also online in this link. So I decided to put it because we can access together to read my presentations. Okay, before I start, just welcome to the Indonesia. This is my lovely country. There is Sumatra, Java Islands, Bali, Nusa Tenggara, Papua, Maluku, Sulawesi, and Kalimantan. And Sundanese came from Javanese island or Java. This is from West Java. And then this is our outline. The first, I want to share you about Indonesian Revolution era. It's very short, but it's really deep sessions for this Indonesian history and a Dutch event. That's why I have a lot of book Dutch cookery book, so that it's really have a relationship with Indonesia, Sundanese, and Dutch or the Netherlands sessions. And then Sundanese people, and then Sundanese cuisines, Sundanese cooking utensils. So I decided to present it. And then from my collections and Sundanese cuisine transformations, meta-history method with auxiliary science, because we don't have software. So we try to collect this meta-history artifact from the documentations as an empirical data. And then Sundanese cuisines and tourism attractions. So this is the Indonesian Revolution era. Oh my God, it's really break my heart, because when I, as a junior high school, I always read this sejarah. Sejarah, it means a history book. So I learned a lot in school about Indonesian Revolution era. My teacher talk about this event, or talk about this Indonesian Revolution era from 1945 until 1949. And then because the one way is Indonesian national revolutions was an armed conflict at the birth of the diplomacy. You have three flags here: Indonesia, the Netherlands, and also the British. It's really have a relationships about this Indonesian Revolution era, because this again from the Kingdom Netherlands, assisted by British. We talk it, or we call it a sekutu, because we have a history era from this event. And then this series of events took place from proclamations of Indonesia, independence, Indonesia independence on August 17th, 1945. In Jakarta declarations, and then the recognitions of Indonesia. Jakarta is a metropolitan area. and then Indonesia independence by the Kingdom of the Netherlands. But the Kingdom of Netherlands have a promise that is December 27 in 1949, Indonesian Revolution's era is ended. But however, the revolutionary about this movement itself has a commemorate with Indonesian national awakening began. So over the course of the 4 years, until 4 years, the bloody events occurred. You can see this is Indonesian people using a bambu runcing. Bambu runcing is a sharp bamboo. We don't have a weapon, but the Netherlands have a weapon and then have a complete weapon. But Indonesian don't have it because we are also indigenous people. We just also traditional people. We are a communal community. So that we just traditional weapon just we have for this revolutions era. And then over the course of course until 4 years, and then these revolutions ended, and in the end of the colonial rules of the Dutch is Indian, because we have a governor from Hindia Belanda. Belanda is a Dutch or the Netherlands. We call it from Bahasa or Indonesia called it Belanda. And then Regius eliminate, but even now the social revolutions which occur in several parts of island, Sumatra, Jawa, Kalimantan. We are have a universe or have a community that's a nationalist movement. We should have a movement from Dutch colonialisms, from Dutch empire, such as there is Sukarno as a president, Muhammad Hatta as a vice president, will be create in the Indonesians from out of Indonesia revolutions era. So, but we have a Japanese era because the Japanese occupations of Indonesia in Indonesian revolutions era from a Dutch colonialisms. For their a half years during the Second World War, as an important factors at the next revolutions, but the Dutch had little ability to maintain colonialism in Dutch East Indies. But Japanese managed to control Sumatra. After Sumatra Island, Japan tried on over the nationalists by promising independence for Indonesia and allowing of the Indonesians language in public space. But the gave rise the birth of a struggle organizations throughout the country. And then when Japan was on the verge of losing of the war from the Dutch, returns reclaim their former colony. The Japanese cannot create the Indonesian's revolutions era from the Netherlands. I think it's Japanese have a lot of planning about this Indonesian revolutions era, because this is the micro history of Indonesian revolutions. First period of modern, and then Indonesia history last 5 years, and then all group united regardless of ethnicity, religion, age, positions, money during the Indonesian revolution. It's a whatever, but this is nationalism is really important than ethnicity, religion, age, and positions. And the last micro history about these Indonesian revolutions is the Indonesian revolutions took place both physically and a diplomatic struggle. You can see these pictures. And then change in life began with a change in social institutions, and then political structure, market conditions, and food availability. These conditions closely related to the legacy, because Indonesia was colonized by Dutch or the Netherlands. It's a very long time. How many years? This is a flashback to the long story. I read a lot of this book also. Dutch colonialism in Indonesia lasted for 350 years. Can you imagine? It's a long journey. It's a long story, because the Dutch first landed in Banten, Indonesia, under the leadership of Cornelis de Houtman. This is a Banten map in West Java. How about the Sundanese people? But before we go to the Sundanese people, we should know about the Japanese occupation. This is the picture when the Japanese from with Sundanese people, Japanese occupations of Indonesia of 3.5 years during the Second World War. This Japanese on the first of long time, the Dutch returned to reclaim their former colony on September in 1944. Yeah, 1944. The Japanese Prime Minister Kuniaki Koiso promised Indonesia independence, although but no official date set was set. So yeah, it's really upset, yeah, because the Japanese did the reclamations or did the big lie for Sundanese and for Indonesian people with this revolution era. And then who is the Sundanese people? This is my documentations about the Sundanese with indigenous people, with indigenous community. For the first pictures in Kampung Adat Cirende. Kampung is a traditional villages or indigenous village. Yeah, we are finding staple food, and our in Cirende, the staple food is a cassava, but in another land or another locations in Sundanese is a rice. So that's why this is the example of our staple food. So the Sundanese people is Orang Sunda. We talk it. I'm a Orang Sunda or I'm a Sundanese people. So this is an ethnic group or originating from the western part of the island of Java, Indonesia. So Sundanese people in West Java with the term Tatar Pasundan. Tatar Pasundan is a West Java, yeah, covering the administrative area about the province of West Java, Banten, Jakarta, and then the western of the regions of the Central Java. For example, Banyumas and Pekalongan, but also it's really different. So significant Sundanese populations can also be found in other provinces, like not only in Indonesia, but abroad, such as in Japan, such as in Netherlands, also in United Kingdom. Yeah, many Sundanese people studied in SOAS London and then in University of Leeds, and a lot of Sundanese people as a diaspora. And then this is the Sundanese kitchen. Yeah, can you imagine? Yeah, it still exists. Yeah, the fried noodles Jaka here is near my home. Fried noodles Jaka since 1946, and they have a lot of story about Indonesian revolutions. How the people or how the Sundanese people talk about with the Netherlands kingdom, please stop the regressions or stop this war. We want to be freedom. So when we are talking about freedom, we say merdeka. Merdeka is a freedom from colonialisms. And then this is the next one is traditional and old, really old Sundanese kitchens in traditional villages. So the power of Cirende Sundanese kitchens is something like that. It's really simple, but yeah, it's a complicated. Yeah, this is the Sundanese styles of old villages. And then this is a hawu or a traditional stove from Sundanese people. And this is, for example, daily main course from a Sundanese. There is a rice and then chickens and then tempe or a tofu. This is for from soybean, and the sambal first. Sambal is really chili sauce. The identify of unite the Sundanese people in their language and the culture. Sundanese are known to be optimistic. Yeah, Sundanese people have a characteristic of friendly and then cheerful and then like a smile, and then yeah, it's really calm for Sundanese people, Sundanese community. So that it's really depends on Sundanese community with colonial or the Netherlands people. The Sundanese are also the first ethnic group to conduct diplomatic relations on the equal basis with the nations. For example, Sanghyang Mahawidi. Sanghyang Mahawidi is a god from a Sundanese community. So now Sundanese also moved to Islam, moved to Catholic, moved to Protestant, and also another religions. So this is the hawu, or the traditional stove, have a philosophy. This is a slow food and slow living, and that's a characteristic of Sundanese people or a Sundanese community. Talk about food sovereignty. Yeah, in Sundanese people or Sundanese community have a slogan. This is our home is our food security. But this concept is really less today, because yeah, it's a modern, so everybody want to move on from a slow living, from a slow food. We want to try Western food, and then we want to try good culinary, and then modern culinary. We want to know about new gastronomy, and then urban gastronomy. So that's why the Sundanese forget about their culture, their live, and their the origin or authentic food. And this is the situations about traditional food when you hang out. Yeah, this is in 1941 until 1950. Yeah, so this is the ambience of culinary traditions in Sundanese, something like that. And then this is a kind of food. This is a colenak. Yeah, colenak is a grilled cassava fermented, which is eaten by dipping it in a liquid brown sugar mixed coconut shaving. Yeah, this is colenak created since 1930 in Bandung. Bandung is capital regions in West Java, Indonesia, and this is a food and migrations about these traditional snacks. And then the first one is celorot, or coconut cecorot cake. This is from Flavor also. This is a very sweet, and this is look like the display of this snack looks like a traditional food. And then this is a bandros. Bandros in 1918, after Indonesian Revolution. So the ambience in a market or a traditional market, something like that. This bandros today, so it's similar with in 1980. Bandros is one of the typical Sundanese food. This is the traditional cake made from a mixture of rice flour. And then how about bajigur? Okay, this is a bajigur, a special drink from Sundanese people. Yeah, this is the area to and to enjoy bajigur. Now, modern bajigur is this is the display of a modern bajigur. Bajigur is a traditional drink typical of the Sundanese people. So its main ingredient is palm palm, and coconut milk. To add the enjoyment, also mix a little ginger, and salt, fragrant pandan. But today, often use artificial vanilla powder, because we need a fast drink or a fast beverage for culinary traditions or for gastronomy. So that this is bajigur today. And then how about the cooking utensil revolution, Syura? As a Sundanese come from indigenous communities, so there is a lot of traditional utensil or traditional cooking utensil in revolution, Syura. And this is the documentation. And let me show you my collections. This is traditional utensil, boboko. Can you see it? This is we can put the rice over here. Yeah, this is a boboko. And then we have traditional and modern for drinking tea. We have this. This is from Netherlands and Sundanese acculturation. So we are enjoy the tea. We have tea celebrations. The name called is Nyanet. Yeah, this is the celebrations. And we have a cobek. We call it a coet. We try to create a sambal. Sambal is a chili sauce. This is from stone. And in every traditional market, sell it. And every Sundanese people like me really love this utensil. And then this glass, it's really old, yeah, so that to drink a coffee. So when the father enjoy the coffee, so the glass, so something like that. And then we have a herbal drink glass, herbal drink. We call it jamu, and this is for a traditional herbal drink. We drink as a daily necessaries. And then we have this. This is a blimbing glass. This is blimbing glass for tea. And then we have this in Netherlands. This glass for champagne, for beer. But in Indonesia, this is for traditional tea, and then for traditional isotonic. We call it lahang. Lahang from coconut, yeah. And then this is the glass for pudding. We call it not pudding, but podeng. Podeng is in Sundanese, yeah, Sundanese dessert. But how we try this podeng, because we know these recipes from this from cookery, the Netherlands cookery book. So that we influence from Netherlands. And this is the bowl. This is the bowl for sambal also. It came from the Netherlands also, and the Chinese influence in Indonesian Europe. And this glass, this is the old glass for a coffee or a tea. So every farmer have it in Sunda. And then, yeah, it's just only, we call it a tatakan for this glass. Yeah, that's my collections. Yeah, not much, but yeah, it's really to make me happy to have these collections. So this is the meta history method. How to collect it? As indigenous people, I just collect a meta history, collect the documents. For example, Sundanese kinship documents, all media, photo, video, and then what is it? A poster, Sundanese poster have it, and then create a category. Like example, Sundanese food, revolutions data or history, Sundanese community, to verify and then make a rundown to collect history data. I need 2 years to collect all data for informations. And then the next one is visit museums with category. For example, in West Java have a museums Sri Baduga in Bandung, West Java, to find Sundanese informations. And then the next one is a history narrative with a thick ethnography or phenomenology. Yeah, if you are an anthropologist, you have James Bradley guideline to create a phenomenology, to create a thick descriptions of ethnography and a critical ethnography or multi-species ethnography. So if you want to use a software, yeah, systematically combining and synthesizing findings from multiple quantitative studies in a research domain or a category. But I just try metaphor software, but it doesn't work because our authentic data or empirical data unpublished, so that there is no analyzing for this meta history method. So we create for authentic, we create from a traditional collecting by meta history. So this research is under review for call papers, but we just create a video documenter for our mini ethnography research about meta history method. And then this study uses the meta history method with auxiliary science. Yeah, the auxiliary science is like we have indigenous knowledge, and then we have ethnoecology, social ecology knowledge, and then we have an indigenous skill, we have mode-to-mode informations, we have a folklore. That's why we talk it auxiliary science from various collections of documentations. Yeah, not only research based, but not only scientific based, but indigenous studies or indigenous knowledge is really important to create this meta history method. And then from Sundanese people who born during the Indonesian revolutions, yeah. We still have this kinship forum, and then which are uploaded to Sundanese kinship forum. And then the impact change Sundanese cuisines can be seen from the food presentations, yeah, the migrations of a process, and then the spices as a flavor, and then the completeness of side dish and politeness in eating food. Yeah, we have a philosophy when we are eating food and attitude for a Sundanese family, especially for old family or Sundanese family. The traditional cooking utensil have also changed the presentations of Sundanese cuisines, but there are several Sundanese restaurants that still maintaining the ancient atmosphere. And this has become a separate commercialization for Sundanese cuisine. Yeah, it's a lot, and it's really expensive to luxury Sundanese menu. This is and then we move to tourism attractions after the revolution era. This is the trans luxury hotel, yeah. How Sundanese menu can create as a luxury menu in a hotel with hospitality and gastronomy influence. And then this is the example Indonesian menu, also Sundanese menu can find out here. In Jakarta have a restaurant, the name is 1945, same with Independence Day in Indonesia. So I think it's a hatur nuhun, ya, terima kasih or thank you. Hatur nuhun is a Sundanese, in bahasa is a terima kasih. It means thank you so much. Maybe just that's all. Thank you so much for the convener, Dr. Matthew.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that, Reepa. That's brilliant. I've just put into the chat to ask if anyone would like to ask a question, please do put it into the chat, or you can raise your hand. There's at the bottom of your screen, you have a reactions button, which if you click on that, you'd be able to raise your hand. So if there are any questions, please do go ahead. In the meantime, one of the things that I've just right at the end of that talk, you sort of mentioned about Sudanese restaurants, some kind of sort of trying to create that atmosphere or recreate the atmosphere of the traditional Sudanese sort of cuisine and sort of how it would have been sort of produced and eaten presumably as well. How accurate do you think that is? Or do you think it's kind of almost like a tourist popular version rather than an authentic version of how it would have been?
Thank you for the questions. Yeah, I think it's not in Indonesia don't have a documentations, complete documentations to explain this, but we have self-analysis as indigenous people, so that we can try to explain like this is a Sundanese variety of a menu from a Japanese influence, and then this is a Sundanese menu from a colonialism or a colonialisms from the Netherlands menu. This is for original Sundanese menu from indigenous leader or indigenous or international for traditional leader in indigenous community. So that's why we can create it, but we can influence it. So this is maybe if I want to talk about this menu, I will talk about this menu as a fusion food, but the taste still traditional. And the problem is, yeah, many Sundanese people really don't like write the documentations about food history.
Great, thank you. And it's quite a complex picture because of all the different influences there as well. I have just realised I haven't stopped the recording for the questions, so I'm just going to do that now before we continue.